Alright Pistons fans, so in today's video, I wanted to talk again about the Motor City Cruise, our G League team, some Isaiah Livers, some Jamarco Pickett. I just wanted to give another video on the Motor City Cruise since I haven't talked about them in a while. I decided, similar to the Pistons, I'm not going to do a game-by-game review with the team. I'm just going to do these type of videos, little updates here and there, other pieces of information outside of just straight game reviews for the Motor City Cruise. Now before we get into the rest of the video, please make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel. Today's like goal will be 100 likes, and please again subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of this year. We are 1 month away by the time you guys watch this video, which means that the clock is ticking. So I'm about 60 subscribers away from 4,000. I really want to get there, so please, if you're new to the channel, subscribe. Now let's get into this, man, with the whole Isaiah Livers thing, man. So Isaiah Livers, initially I was going to do a video on his first game, you know, his first return game with the Cruise. I was going to do a video on that, but I decided, let me just wait this out. Let him have a few more games. You know, the Motor City Cruise, they usually wait 3 to 4 days between games. So I was like, hey, let me just let this play out, let him have a few games under his belt, and then I'll talk about him afterwards. So I waited, and the Cruise with no Saban Lee have had an up and down season. They've won a few games, but then at the same time they've lost a few games. So it's been an up and down season for the Motor City Cruise. And Isaiah Livers unfortunately only ended up playing one game, which is kind of shocking, man. I waited this whole time to do this video because I thought that they would play him some more, but no, he only got in one game. Injury, we all know they have to continue to be precautious with him. Let's talk about when he did play, okay? So in his return game, he was thrust into the starting lineup. Now that was one thing that I immediately, you know, began to scratch my head at and was like, what are the Motor City Cruise, you know, coaches down there doing? Throwing Isaiah Livers into the starting lineup, coming off of an injury, having no chemistry with the team, and obviously going to be rusty as all players are when they don't play basketball for a very long time, which is very, very weird to me. I did not understand why they just thrust him into the starting lineup. They should have gradually got him there. They should have started him on the bench and then slowly but surely worked his way up to starting minutes. So that was the first thing that had me, you know, scratching my head. I was like, why is Isaiah Livers being the starter when he's coming off of an injury? So Isaiah Livers, he had 25 minutes on the night. He was a -9 with his plus minus, and he finished with a total of 6 points, along with shooting 2 for 11 from the 3-point line, and he also had 2 turnovers. So obviously a very, very rough game. And you know, for Isaiah Livers, I know he's not playing right now, but you know, once he comes back, I think it's going to be another thing similar to Cade Cunningham. Okay, if you guys remember when Cade Cunningham on the main roster first came back after missing like the first few games of the regular season, Cade came back and was extremely rusty, was missing a lot of his shots, turning the ball over, just not really playing well, not really being effective. And that's probably the same situation that's going to happen with Isaiah Livers. Livers coming back rusty, not going to hit his shots, going to turn the ball over, just not play well. But then once he begins to get his footing under him, that's when he's going to start to play better. That's the same thing that happened with Cade Cunningham. He got into the top 5 of rookie voting, and as of current times, he's ranked 3rd in terms of rookie of the year voting. So I envision the same thing is going to happen with Isaiah Livers. Once he comes back, he's going to eventually begin to pick it up. He's not going to only have, you know, 6 points. He's not going to be a -9 with his plus minus, and he won't shoot 2 for 11 from the 3-point line. Now watch this man shoot the lights out at the University of Michigan, okay? He's not a bad shooter. He won't continue to shoot like this. He will improve overall as a player. So Isaiah Livers, in that first game, rough for him, but I do envision him having success once he comes back. That's the only question though. As of right now, I don't know when he's going to come back. I did my research. I looked around to see any information on the return of Isaiah Livers after that game on the 23rd, but I couldn't find anything. So it's still going to be a wait and see type of thing on when Isaiah Livers comes back. So that was the 23rd, and then the Motor City Cruise, they play again back-to-back games on the 24th. Isaiah Livers missed this game, and the Motor City Cruise get a win 122 to 103. So a good game for the Motor City Cruise. Jamarco Pickett, Derek Walton Jr., Davidas Servidis, you know, a good win for the Cruise. And on November 27th, again, Isaiah Livers missed. And then yesterday's game, well, for me it's yesterday, for you guys it's probably 2 days ago, Isaiah Livers didn't play again in our most recent game. So that's basically everything on Isaiah. Let's talk about a few other players on the roster, how they've been doing so far in this season in the G League. So let's start off with Jamarco Pickett. Now, this is a man who everyone has been high on ever since the Summer League started. You know, he had a few good games in the Summer League. People were really high on him. And me personally, I was like, let's just pump the brakes. Let's give it a moment and see what type of, you know, long-term success he he can have. Because there have been many players who have had great summer leagues, then they come to the NBA and they don't do anything. So I always wanted to be cautious with Jamarco Pickett, as you all should be, with a player like him. You should never throw too many expectations on a guy who wasn't even taken in the first or second round. But thankfully, so far, Pickett has been playing really well. He's been averaging 16 points, 7 rebounds, and shooting 38% from the three-point line. And that's something that the main roster, the Detroit Pistons, they could really use right now, the shooting of someone like Pickett. And Pickett so far throughout this entire G League season, I would say he's probably our second best player behind Saban Lee. Now, Saban hasn't really been on the G League team because he's been called up to the main roster because of Killian Hayes' injury. So I don't really know if I would count Saban Lee, but if we're not counting Saban Lee, then yes, I would say Pickett has been our #1 guy, has been our best player on the G League team. So I tip my cap to him. I'm going to continue to monitor him and see what he does down there. I didn't want to throw too much expectations on him. I just wanted to wait and see what he could do. And so far, he's proving himself. So a good season so far for Pickett. Let's talk about Derek Walton Jr. Derek Walton Jr., a guy who we picked up, I believe it was 2 months ago where we picked him up. And he's also had a successful season, especially, again, once Saban Lee got called up to the main roster, he got thrust into a more, prominent role, being the primary ball handler. And so far, he's been able to manage that low. And he's actually a guy who has spent some time in the NBA on the main roster. So he should be able to be comfortable down here with these guys, be able to manage the offense. So Walton Jr., stepping into this role without Saban has been really, really good as well. And lastly, I wanted to talk about Diallo, because Diallo is a guy who has had a fair share of debates about him. Since the Pistons main roster, we obviously need a big man right now. Our bigs, we have been struggling in that department. So people have been talking about Diallo. And I do like Diallo. I did say in the video where he first played, I said that I don't know if he'll have a long-term spot on the Motor City Cruise or on the Pistons, just because I didn't see, much potential and much upside there. But with the Pistons main roster losing Kelly Olynyk, Isaiah Stewart struggling because he's the only big, Trey Lyles playing center, I started to look at any and all options, and Diallo was one of those options. Now, the only thing about him is that he's kind of another version of Isaiah Stewart, another undersized dude who can play the power forward or the center position. He'll come in there, he'll block a few shots. So far this season, he's averaging 1.4 blocks. So Diallo, similar to Pickett, I'm just going to continue to monitor him, see what he does, because this Pistons team on the main roster, we badly need a big. And Diallo, he's not really a big. He's another Isaiah Stewart type, but we desperately need anything that can help out the main roster's center situation right now. So I'd honestly take anything. So Pistons fans, Motor City Cruise fans, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like this video, comment on this video, share this video. Thank y'all for 3K, and I'm out.